Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. So many people post videos telling me I'm attacking their beliefs and scoriating me for attacking their beliefs. And they don't defend their beliefs. What's that? They don't offer defense for their beliefs. Now, I believe that, as I stated in a recent video, it is the job of intellectuals to defend their beliefs and to fight for what they believe is right and important. An intellectual is always undertaking some project, and that's progress. That's the growth of society. Helterman now comes into the picture on my William James video. Says a little bit of nothing, and so I want to quote The Closing of the American Mind by Alan Bloom. And we're going to quote a bit from the foreword as well by Saul Bellow, S-A-U-L-B-E-L-L-O-W. It is a distressing situation we're in today when people who style themselves as intellectuals couldn't come up with an argument or a logical syllogism to save their frickin' life. Page 15, the foreword. He talks about what writing is. Just got a little paragraph here with an interesting thought, and it speaks to what intellectuals should do. A piece of writing is an offering. You bring it to the altar and you hope it will be accepted. You pray, at least, that rejection will not throw you into a rage and turn you into a Cain, you know, the guy who killed his brother. Perhaps naively you produce your favorite treasures and pile them in an indiscriminate heap. Now that's a metaphor. What does that mean for writing? If you write something for the public, maybe what you do is take all of your treasures of what you hold inside yourself and just pile them together. And you say to yourself as you pile them in this heap for the public, you say, those who do not recognize their value now may do so later. Okay? And you do not always feel that you're writing for any of your contemporaries. It may well be that your true readers are not yet here and that your books will cause them to materialize. So the intellectual has a bit of that going on when they put writing out in the public sphere. Just a quick thought to get us going and warm us up. And this is about the death of the American mind. And after that he goes on to talk about the fact that students can't write anymore. But here we are on page 22. For modern nations, which have founded themselves on reason in its various uses more than did any nations in the past, a crisis in the university, the home of reason, is perhaps the profoundest crisis they face. I agree. He starts that paragraph by saying there is no need to prove the importance of education. But it should be remarked that for modern nations, a crisis in the university is perhaps the profoundest crisis they face. We face a crisis in our universities today. Watch my video on postmodernism in architecture, or watch any video by Azrianok, or any of the crap Zorio used to have up. He's so embarrassed about his videos, he took them all down. Can you imagine me just wholesale removing my videos? I mean, it'd be a crime. Okay, it talks now about the attitude that is taught in education. In education today, they teach relativity and openness, multiculturalism, acceptance of everybody else, you can't judge. Relativity, if you were in their shoes, how would you feel? They believe it's right from their side. You say it's wrong, but they say it's right. You can't judge them. Openness and the relativism that makes it the only plausible stance in the face of various claims to truth and various ways of life and kinds of human beings. Openness is the great insight of our times. Continuing, the true believer is the real danger. The true believer, someone who says, I have something I actually believe. Everybody else is, what are they? They're safe and modern. They are updated. The study of history and of culture teaches that all the world was mad in the past. Men always thought they were right, and that led to wars, persecution, slavery, xenophobia, racism, and chauvinism. The point is not to correct the mistakes and really be right. Is not to think you are right at all. That is the point of postmodernism, is to say you can't be right. It's impossible to be right. And we know this for a fact. We're right about that. But you can't be right about anything. They don't want to correct any mistakes that we've inherited intellectually. They want to say that no correct answers are even possible at all, and they want us to give up even thinking about answering any questions in the real world, which they say doesn't exist. This is exactly the attitude that I get from Azrionock and company. The true believer is the real danger. Mr. Cropper's true believer believes that there's an objective reality that we can appeal to. And he is the one who's dangerous. Of course, they don't know how to argue against me. When I have a statement, an intellectual statement in one of my videos, and they come at me, they see that I'm the antithesis of everything they've been taught their whole lives, but they don't know how to address that. They can't even touch it. They try futilely to put a chink in the armor or something, and they just bounce off like they're an apparition, like they're a ghost or something. They don't know how to touch objectivity because they don't believe there's a real reality. They never appeal to it in their arguments. So, if I can say it philosophically, an objective argument is a castle of stone. And postmodernists are ghosts attacking castles of stone. And we don't need to increase our defense budget. Okay, continuing, next page, page 28. There are no absolutes. Freedom is an absolute. Don't we hear that everywhere today in the universities? There are no absolutes. We can't know anything. And everyone should be free to have their own opinion. You can't impinge on anybody. Nobody can judge anybody else. So if it's true that there are no absolutes on the one hand and that freedom is an absolute on the other, then your conviction in freedom, continuing the quote, of course the result is that on the one hand the argument justifying freedom disappears. Because you can't say, if there are no absolutes, you can't justify freedom in any way. So the argument justifying freedom disappears. And on the other hand, all beliefs, even beliefs in science and so forth, all beliefs begin to have the attenuated character that was initially supposed to be limited to religious belief. So when these people say that science involves faith, they are just taking, swallowing whole without questioning it, this modern dogma that there are no absolutes. They are just taking it absolutely uncritically on faith, and I might say even contrary to the evidence. Contrary to evidence, they are accepting the assertions that there are no absolutes, that science and faith are equal, that faith in science is necessary just as faith in God is necessary. There's no difference between faith in one thing and another as the objective world or a fantasy world. Those people have swallowed that dogma whole. They can't really think anymore. Chews their brain up and spits it out. John Stossel used to be a really hardcore left-wing liberal, but the thing is, he was immersed in the day-to-day philosophy of trying to better the government and better society through his investigative reporting, and he saw that they were on the wrong track, they were on the wrong side, fighting for the wrong people. So eventually he changed his attitude in his mind, and he became libertarian. But we can't ask that much of people who aren't willing to even look at evidence, because John Stossel was up to his elbows in evidence and eventually faced it. People who are in the ivory tower and have given up on thinking are an altogether different story. Their brain has fallen out, and then they ridicule other people for being zombies. It's a bizarre situation worthy of a story about postmodernism or something. The zombies who called everyone zombies.